This is your encouragement to share the message that is in your heart. Share it, share it, share it, share it already. You are not feeling the impulse to do that in vain. It is coming from a place, it's coming from an intelligence outside of your own mind, outside of your own body, that is telling you and giving you the impulse, giving you the instruction to do the thing that you feel called to do. Like the fantasies that you have in your mind of the impact that you're going to make on people once you share what you feel like you were designed and built to share. That impact that you fantasize about feeling is prophecy. It's real. It's a calling, you know? The wisdom that you have gained from your life experiences that granted you access to this knowledge, not only on an intellectual level, but on an embodied level. It's like you learned what you learned, and you can say what you have learned with conviction because you live it. It's not just an idea, and you're not a coward. You are embodying this knowledge. So please just share it already. If you'll know this is for you if this is just confirming a feeling that you've already been feeling. Open up your camera, open up your webcam, open up your phone, press record, start speaking. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just connect with your heart and feel what drove you to share in the first place. You are not here in vain. Your presence is so valuable. I was going to say invaluable, but it's so valuable. It's worth so much. It's worth joy. It's worth support. It's worth happiness. It's worth love. It's worth lavish. You know, it's worth so much. I also just want to show you my view right now. I'm sitting here at one of my favorite parks, and yeah, by the water. So that was it, you know? Get on there, get out there, share your message. I will also add that the things that are holding you back are not worth it. They're not worth dimming your light. They're not worth shying away in the long run of things. It's understandable and sometimes necessary to protect yourself from emotional harm, from the things that you are afraid of. It's like, but only you can discern your limits and what those things are, you know? But I just want to share this word of encouragement because, you know, I think fear of judgment is something that holds me back and it holds other people back. But at what cost, right? What's the cost? I'm not being held at gunpoint. That's a terrible thing to even think. But it's like, there is no cost. There is no cost of me being judged, of me risking being judged. And I know that plenty of people already do. And I certainly am sensitive to it. I feel it. I feel things intensely. So I'm just looking around because it feels vulnerable to have my back turned to like an open field and there's people walking around, and you know, it's not easy to just like tap into these things, you know, around people. But yeah, it's my version of protecting myself. I feel like I will become too self-conscious and just kind of shut down. Like the thought of people coming by is just, it's too much. So I mean, that's a tiny example in real time of just how intense it can be to actually put yourself out in the open. Like, even though literally no one's here, no one hears me, but the feeling of risk, like the vulnerability, the emotional tenderness is real, because when you present yourself as someone who is speaking a prophecy, like speaking encouragement, speaking guidance, speaking confidently. It's like that. There are people in the world who are not equipped to receive that or understand that, and I think that the hardest thing for me, and perhaps for other people as well, is like confronting that within ourselves, confronting that within yourself, and recognizing over and over and over through every freaking illusion that like your identity is rooted in God. Like your identity is spiritual. And on that, in that realm, nothing can touch you. I have to turn around because I just can't do this. I need to sit on a bench and see my see my surroundings. I didn't like having my back facing an open field. This feels better. But yeah, I think one thing that is asked of people who have a soul calling is to reconcile over and over and over with their true identity, because when you allow yourself to be seen, when you allow yourself to move through life and take action and act on your calling, you risk being judged. You risk being exiled, like socially, outcasted, and it's confrontational. But what that means is that you're at a place where you're either already experiencing this or you're getting ready to up level your security in your own godly identity. Like you will come to realize that it doesn't fucking matter what people say or do. You could have everybody you know and love betray you, leave you, God forbid, but like it happens, okay? And it's just going to add to your testament to God, the testament of the glory of God. I hear a lot of people talk about that, and I'm starting to actually feel what that feels like in my own life, because I've gone through betrayals, loss. I'm going through health challenges right now as I speak. Tons of things I wouldn't wish on anyone. But through the challenges, through the losses, through the changes, I've seen God pick up and bring me relief and bring me insight and clarity and comfort, in moments when after I felt like I was close to giving up, like having absolutely no energy. I mean, literally running on empty with a body that wasn't even functioning, trying to heal from parasites and toxin overload, and dealing with complete, physical, like organ burnout and fatigue. And I have support, but going through those waves where you are driven to have to ask for support and change up your lifestyle and your decisions, and your little habits on a day-to-day because you need it, because you can't function otherwise. Like that's a vulnerable place. That is like the definition of just being in the unknown, and that's where fear lives. But what I'm saying is, say the freaking message. Just share it already, because sooner or later you're gonna have to face the fact of your chosenhood, your the brilliance that you're able to deliver, because you're needed. Like there's people who want what you have and who need what you have. And and I don't want to say this to pressure someone who is not ready, because only you know yourself. This message is for the people who are hesitating for no reason, only because they're trapped in a cycle of fear. They're hesitating to take the leap of faith, and it is a leap of faith. You're gonna have to jump and fall for a couple seconds. But how are you supposed to, float over the reservoir, over the landscape, if you never test out the thing that is supposed to give you wings? It's scary as hell, but like, what's the worst that can happen? You'll fall and you'll get a little hurt, but you'll get back up. It's not like you're going to lose your life. Like, we're all going to die at some point. But, and I feel like I'm kind of getting a little carried away here, but, the core of my message is you have a calling, and it's waiting for you, and it's not going to stop. It's going to keep knocking at your door. It's going to keep buzzing around your face. Like, and if there are things that you need to overcome or release in order to more fully embody your calling, just go ahead and step forward, step into them, and face them head on. Like, sometimes you need to let the fire, a fire burn in your spirit to purify the things that are, holding you back for whatever reason, or preventing you from actually seeing your truth. And I think that the more that we persevere and like honor the calling of our soul, like honor what God tells us to do in the face of judgment and ridicule and whatever the hell that people want to use to try to misdirect us, the more that we are confronted with that, and this phrase is coming to mind, like, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. I listen to a lot of prophetic word videos from a lot of people who are, very Christian, whatever. I'm Jewish, so I don't have the same kind of religious tie or relationship with like prophetic speaking and speaking encouraging messages. But, some of these Bible verses are just, they hit, you know what I mean? No weapon formed against you shall prosper. That person who you thought was your friend, who all of a sudden is jealous and backstabbing you, they're gonna fall and wreathe, roll around in their own crap. They tried to put it on you, and maybe for a second you believed it, maybe for a second you actually took it on, and you let that weight elude you towards something that is a lie. Like, that's deception. It's false, and there's nothing more true than your own connection with God, than the divine revelation inside of your spirit. No one can touch that. No one can take it away from you. And there might be times in your life where you literally have not a single soul in the flesh who understands or can validate what you're saying. And honestly, that's why, part of the reason why I do this, because I have gone through countless seasons in my life where I have chosen the truth, my truth, chosen to follow the calling of my soul, in exchange for temporary seasons of isolation. But the thing is that the more I align, the more I stay centered in God, the more that I'm going to naturally magnetize towards other people who also are. And everything else is just going to fall away, and it's like the more you do something, the more automatic and habitual it comes. So the things that you're afraid of now, the more you confront them, the more they melt away, the less grip that they'll have on you. The challenges might become deeper if you're called further down this path. I don't know if it ever really ends, but the thing is, take what you have been through in the past as freaking proof that you can do it. Because look at you. You are still standing where other people fell down a long time ago and gave up a long time ago. So pick yourself back up and recognize your holiness, your divinity, your protection, your strength. Like, oh my God, you have something that, of course, people don't recognize, because you may have been born into a situation, you may have been raised in a world, in a society that is not capable or willing, is too cowardly to recognize what it takes to literally create heaven on earth, because it requires surrendering your ego to God. It literally requires giving up your personal desires and even your own will sometimes. But the fact that you are here and that this message found you, and if it resonates with you, it means that you are so worthy. And not to say that if you're, the people who aren't listening to this are not worthy of being loved. Human beings, need love, you know what I mean? But when I say worthy, I mean that you possess a kind of strength, like a kind of spiritual strength, that if you are here and if this is for you, it means that you have honored that strength. Like you have honored your calling, you have honored God, and you have done it time and time again when you, like in the face of the devil, like in the face of the most treacherous things that you have come up against. So be encouraged. Like, be encouraged. You don't need anybody to tell you. You are doing like superhuman things, and keep going. Just keep going. That's all I have to say.